to achieve this abundance, like that 11K week. Like, what if you told me back in the day when I was working a 9 to 5 that that's like a fifth of my salary back then? Like, I would have made that in, 5 to 7 days, and creating a life that just gives me freedom. This episode sponsorship is brought to you by my signature core offer, my one-to-one private mentorship program. Let's build you a roadmap to success. Applications to apply are in the show notes. There are limited spaces available per month, so be sure to get in quick. Welcome to the Start Somewhere podcast, the show where we empower females through mindset and manifestation. My name is Isabelle Prestia, and I'm your host. Every Monday, I inspire you with an episode to show you how to attract your dream life. Make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. It's time to start somewhere together. Get ready for some free business coaching, guys. This is going to be a bonus episode on the podcast. This is the second time where I'm going to be doing a book club review. So for context, I have a book club here in Adelaide. It's also completely virtual and online, so you can join no matter where you are based. Otherwise, we do hold it here in Adelaide, which is where I live, which is where the book club runs. We have been running this book club for over 12 months. I started this with a friend of mine called Ruby back in April of 2022, and we have just celebrated our first birthday. It's actually tonight as I'm recording this episode. So pumped that something as simple as an idea of a book club, which was completely just to bring like-minded women together, whether they are business owners or whether they are just super interested and passionate about self-development. We have such an array of women, and the fact that Ruby and I came together and we started this whole entire thing, and now a year later, we are celebrating a first birthday. We have such a strong community. I've seen so many friendships being made from this group, and it's only growing. Like, it's only growing so much. It wasn't only about last week we had like 30 or 40 new requests into the book club into the book club Facebook group, and Ruby's like, what is going on here? And I'm like, yep, I'm kind of putting it out there more and more. But it's so powerful how much community will change your life, and now more than ever, we want so much emotional fulfillment. We want so much stability, and we also want to be surrounded by this like-minded tribe, by like-minded women. And this book club community is exactly that. As I mentioned, it's created so many friendships, and it's so special because, yeah, we have this book club. We have a book that brings us together. It's like the anchor, but it just allows for so much more to come out of it. And the reason I'm sharing all of this, if you are new to this new series on the podcast, this is the second time I'm going to be doing it. It's going to be a bonus episode every single month. And this is where I'm going to be reviewing the book that we read this month. So I had this idea, honestly, ages ago, and it wasn't until, now I've actually started to implement it. And I got really awesome feedback from last book club's episode, actually. A lovely listener, Nikki, longtime lover of the podcast, shout out to you, Nikki. And she shared that she loved hearing different insights and also a book club review, essentially. So actually, I'm going to get up exactly what she said because I'm butchering this. She shared that she loved the book club review idea, even if they are books that I've read. It's always interesting to hear other people's take on it. And I completely agree. That's a big part why I also wanted to do this. I think it's so interesting to hear what other people can get from books. And you can tell I'm like very excited right now for some reason just to talk about this. So this, let's just dive straight into it before I keep rambling and stumbling over my words. So the book for April was by Alex Hormozi. And Alex Hormozi, for those of you who don't know, let me actually get like a bit of a bio on him just so I can give you a snapshot on this book and who he is. So Alex Hormozi is an entrepreneur, he's a business owner, and I've just done a Google now. His net worth since 2023 is $100 million. So Hormozi became a millionaire when he was 23 years old. And the book that we chose for this month, so I chose to listen to the Audible, and the title is called $100 Million Offers: How to Make Offers So Good People Feel Stupid Saying No. A very masculine, a very logical, straightforward point to business. I do love to read such an array of business books, both from the femme, the energy, the manifesting, but I also do like to dabble a lot of these types of concepts. So the logical, the more masculine side. And I'm pretty sure Ruby actually suggested this idea. So suggested this book. And I think, yeah, it was like really refreshing to read. I really loved listening to this and I learned so much. And this is essentially going to be, yeah, like my take on the book. But when I was kind of taking notes from this book, I know that the concepts I share, it really was more for growing my own business. But I'm like, okay, how can I add a spin on this? How can I make this valuable for the podcast listeners? So I thought, okay, I'm going to take my inspiration that I got from this book and give you guys some free business coaching. So all on making offers. If you have an idea, if you have a broad idea, or maybe you're just starting to get really curious about heading down this path of owning your own kind of business, whether that's an ecom business, whether that is a coaching business, or whether that's anything else under the sun. So this is going to be like a really beautiful framework, and I'm going to add my own flavor, my own spin, my own feminine touch to it. That way you can get such a better understanding and make sense of these concepts. And I think it's going to be a very expansive episode. So let's dive in, guys. So essentially, I will give a brief summary of the book. So it pretty much says it in the title: making an offer that is so good, people essentially feel stupid. It feels wrong for them to say no. And this really allowed my marketing and my business brain to completely light up. And he goes into concepts such as pricing, such as branding, of course, all the mindset work that goes into it as well. And I just want to share to all of my girls who are business owners or who want to be business owners, the first step to anything is you have to believe so deeply in what it is you are sharing with the world. So, and what it is that you're selling on what it is that you're promoting. If you're doing something just for the money, okay, yeah, you most likely will get the money. But the thing is that, I mean, it may not be sustainable, or even if it is, you're not going to feel emotionally fulfilled, right? And that is like, I feel this is a huge part of feminine embodiment and feminine leadership. It's been so anchored in as a business owner, speaking to my business owners here, or ones who are aspiring to, being so anchored in to your service, to your product, to what it is that you are doing and putting out there, the content that you're putting out there, not following the trends and, oh, this really famous influencer or coach or other business person posted this reel with this audio, I'm going to do the exact same because they did it. You need to stand and walk and be in integrity and in congruency with yourself. So this book really was inspiring for me in a way I honestly didn't think I would get, which I love. They're like the best types of sparks of inspiration because they're essentially, I mean, it's essentially what like this, when I get these like unexpected bursts of inspiration, that is always what has been the most like biggest pivotal point in my life with creating such beautiful change, such easeful, such peaceful, such slow moving, yet still with high energy change, because there's no expectations, there's no standards. And to any women out there who is really starting to get curious about maybe pursuing some kind of online business out there, follow that pull, trust your intuition, and just see where it takes you. What are those first steps going to be? And so the first part of having any business, right, whether it's an online, an e-commerce business, a service-based business, maybe you're a yoga instructor, a PT, you want to open a fitness studio, you want to start to sell digital programs and online guides. Maybe you do want to step more into coaching. First things first, having an offer that feels perfect to you. And these are a few components that I've actually learnt the past few months. I've really been going a lot deeper into business and crafting your offers and all these kind of things, which is why I was super excited to read or to listen to Alex Hormozi's book, because it really complements the style of learning, like the season of learning I'm in right now. And these are some points here that are covered in the book, yes, but these are also kind of my personal tips. So yeah, this is like a free business session, which I'm super excited for. Before we continue, first a word from this episode's current sponsor, calling all my women who are emerging creatives, teachers, leaders, and trailblazers who want to manifest more abundance. Do you often feel scarce in your money and abundance mindset, lack momentum, like there are way too many limiting beliefs, and have low self-trust to take the next steps towards your dreams? Or perhaps you're time poor. There's never enough hours in the day to allocate it on the things you would love to be doing instead, whether that's starting or working on your business or living in more alignment. I used to be there too, which is why my one-to-one private mentorship may be the ultimate solution for you. Get clear why there is a lack of self-belief and instead get into alignment with your highest self so that way you can attract more money and abundance and create inspired action on what your next moves are. Feel motivated again, no matter how unsure you feel right now. Let's build you a roadmap to success. Applications to apply are in the show notes. There are limited spaces available per month, so be sure to get in quick. Firstly, when it comes to crafting your perfect offer, so you want to make this so irresistible, right? And so, okay, maybe you don't have an idea of what your product or your service, or maybe you want to start a cafe or do this, or have an e-commerce business or start a coaching business, or maybe it's freelancing in a creative field. You know, you can honestly, whatever you choose, it's viable. It will make you money if you follow these things. So firstly, having a claim. What are you claiming that this product, that this service is going to help people receive, right? Because if you're not clear, your audience isn't clear. So these things are really mirrored. Secondly, what are those promises that you're giving people, right? And this is where you want to use your discernment and not to promise that this product is going to save you feeling XYZ, or going through this program or buying this service is going to help you achieve ABC if it will not actually do the thing. Because I mean, so many things, it's going to ruin your reputation. It's going to ruin your brand. I mean, it depends how big your promise is. If it's not in congruency, if it's not ethical, and if the people who go through this don't actually receive that, like it's just something we completely want to move to the right and just bypass altogether. But just start to think, what are some promises that this product or service is going to give people? If it is a yoga instructor, maybe it's more flexibility, right? Finding more stability within, getting more balanced. If you're a PT, it's achieving a certain fitness goal. If it's an e-commerce business, what is that product giving people, right? And then a big part as well, which Hormozi says a lot in the book, and this is also from my personal research and my personal experience, is having an element of scarcity in it. And what I mean by this is you want to create a sense of urgency as to why this person should buy your product or buy your service right now, opposed to later. You know, I often tell myself, and I know this is the fact, whenever I say, oh, I'll do this later, later becomes never. And this can be in every way. Oh, I'm going to go to the gym later. I'm going to go for a walk later. I'll do that later. I'll buy this thing later. Unless it's honestly at the very front of our mind and it's a super important value or goal, or it's just really, really damn important to us, later often becomes never. And so to help bypass this in the business world, in the marketing world, when it comes to selling or promoting your product or service, think, what type of scarcity can I add to this? Is there some kind of an expiration date, a countdown? Only X number of days left at a certain price, or buy between these certain dates and maybe they can avoid a price increase. They can save money, right? Using things like price, money, monetary figures is really what drives people to take action. You know, like I know if I see, you know, those times where maybe you're shopping on your favorite online store and you put some things to your cart, and then something happens, you close off, you don't go back to it. And then you get those emails. Hey, Isabelle, did you forget this in your cart? And I'm like, oh, whatever, next. And I get it again. And then they're like, hey, order in X amount of days and receive 10% off. Well, of course I'm going to buy now because I'm saving money. right? So just start to ask yourself, from that framework I just shared, from that example, how can you start to add that? Or how can you start to think about adding that? Maybe you don't have a business yet, but these are just some really helpful notes I want you to go back on, to jot down, and to revisit this when the time does feel right to follow that calling. A big part that Alex Hormozi touches on in the book is family not getting what you do. And this really hit home to me. This really made me laugh and made me feel not alone, because he shared how what he was doing, he was offering a service to gym owners, and he was making stupid amounts of money. And his dad called him up one day and basically asked if what he was doing was legal because of the amount of money he was making. And of course, anybody who doesn't understand the business model and who sees the kind of money this guy makes, you're most likely going to think, how the hell is that even possible? But it's not until you have a complete understanding of his backstory, and also you can just see what the business model is. Google him if you're not too sure exactly. That's not really the point of the book. But once you can see that understanding, you're like, well, that's how he makes stupid amounts of money. And so coming back to this point, family not getting what you do, I just want you to know, and I wish I knew this earlier on as well, before I started my business and this whole journey, is that people won't always get what you do. And that doesn't mean you need to stop what you're doing. Instead, just start to teach people what it is you do, especially in my situation. I come from a Italian family and extremely supportive, so much love. And my mom didn't really understand. I don't even think she knows exactly what I do yet. And it wasn't until I sat her down, I was like, Mom, there are so many ways that we can make money online. This is my background. I went to uni, I studied marketing. I have this passion. I know I'm good at branding and marketing. I love to teach. I got the podcast, and I eventually decided to teach her what it is I do. And it's like, for such a long time, she didn't get it. And that really upset me. And it really kind of made me feel like I was doing something wrong. But it's not until we can just tell people, hey, this is it, what we do. It's either up to them to get it or not, but that's not on you. Right. And like, it's so normal for this to happen. I really just wish I knew this before I had started my business and all that I do, that, there's going to be so many people in your life who don't get it, and they want to support you. Of course they do. But maybe just take that upon yourself and be like, hey, actually, this is the new pathway I'm going down. Or, hey, I really want to start this e-commerce business. Or I actually think I really want to start to help people. And I really want to create a coaching program. I really want to start showing more of myself online, starting to create something more of myself. This is what I'm doing, and it's like, it's scary to say those things, especially to the people around us, but that's where it takes us confidence. That's where mindset is so incredibly crucial, right? So just know that it's so completely normal, and it's something that, I dealt with so much, and I know so many of us deal with, and clearly Alex Hormozi dealt with as well, because he dedicates a whole bunch of it in his book. So another big part of the book, and also what I'm going to be giving you guys free business advice on in this episode, is a pricing strategy. So pricing your offers in a way that honestly is extremely unique and does help you stand out from the crowd. You most likely found yourself in a position where you are choosing between two of the same products, and the main difference is price. Most likely the one that has this higher price value, it's in our minds, and also most likely as well perceived as higher quality. Maybe it's made from better products. It is going to last longer. It gives you more of the things, whatever it may be. This could be, for example, actually some real life example right here. I was buying some magnesium tablets the other day, and I was choosing between a higher ticket offer, I guess you could say, and a lower one. And the higher one was a more natural product. It had more of the healthy good stuff in it. It was just better for you. Whereas the lower one, it just was missing those key ingredients. And so this is an example where we have essentially two of the same products, and price is that factor that makes a difference between the two. Now, pricing your offers is something that you want to be, yes, logical about, doing your market research, seeing what other people are doing. But this is where money mindset, especially what I've learned from starting my business and what has honestly given me the most financial fulfillment, is doing all this type of money work. right? And we're going to go down like more of a feminine energy pathway here, which Alex Mosley definitely does not say in his book, which is all on your money mindset. And I have so many journal prompts that I share with my clients, that I do myself. And these are the types of prompts and just ways to kind of heighten your energetics when it comes to money. And this just complements feminine energy so perfectly, because feminine energy is all about being in this receivership state, right? It's about being open. And the reason I'm saying this when it comes back to money is because when it comes to pricing our offers, and we're in a competitive market, maybe it's oversaturated, there's so many things left, right, and center, so much noise, so many other people offering such similar things. And you're stuck being like, oh, well, what the hell do I price this thing? You do your research, you look at what other people are doing, and you want to set your price that is fair, but then you also want to get sales. And so a lot of the time people think, oh, if I just make myself the cheapest, I'll be more desirable. And I mean, that will serve a purpose at some point. But end of the day, what I'm all about, what this podcast is all about, and what you are all about, because you chose to listen to this episode, is being this high value woman, right? And when it comes to starting a business, whatever that business is for you, we want to start something that is going to be sustainable, that is going to be here for the long run, right? And a big part of my role, my coaching, what I do, I want to help women just like yourself achieve abundance, start that business in whatever way that may be, right? And so what I found in my experience is I've dabbled in a whole bunch of different fields. I think I mentioned not too long ago, I was doing freelancing in a creative space. So I was doing social media management. I do a lot of UGC content videos as well, which is helping e-commerce brands, right? I've done a lot of freelance marketing. I've dabbled in the whole e-commerce world. And it's like what I found for me has been the most profitable and the most rewarding was a coaching business model. So if you feel that pull within you that you want to create something that helps people, I have a model that I can hand to you that has worked wonders to me and given me the sense of freedom and this emotional and financial fulfillment. And, it's 1:20 p.m. on a Monday and it's the most beautiful sunny day here in Adelaide. And I'm in my podcast studio recording episodes. I'm going to go for a hike in the afternoon and I'm going to prep for some client calls later on. And it's just so like a pinch me moment that I just live such a beautiful life of freedom. And I feel so secure within and so sure of the journey and the path that I'm going on, and that I am in this for the long run. And it is this beautiful, sustainable growth that I'm creating for myself. And this really comes back to, the points I've just shared already with this free business coaching episode. It's what is that offer, and just really honing in and making sure that you embody and you believe what it is, your product, your service, whatever this business idea is for you. And then coming onto the whole pricing section. And, as I mentioned, I take my clients through such potent, powerful money energy prompts and shifts and guided meditations. And I've experienced the most groundbreaking realizations and transformations when I go through these processes. I do them and then I tweak them, then I give them to my clients, I give them to you guys. And just the experiences and the shifts that I've had, whenever they happen, I just tell myself, I'm like, you just can't make this stuff up. You just can't make this stuff up. I remember so clearly, not too long ago, I started this whole new kind of money mindset journaling session. And I was doing it one morning and I worked through these huge blocks that I didn't even realize I had that was so beneath the surface. And that's the thing with this type of work is if we knew what those blocks were, if we knew why we live in a scarcity mindset, why we think we can't have more, why we think it's so hard to save money and have a house and have millions of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars or live in our dream location, like whatever it may be. If we knew what it was that was stopping us, we'll most likely work through it, right? Because you are a very empowered, self-driven, motivated woman because you're choosing to listen to this episode. And so the thing is, we know this, right? We're here, we have these boundaries, we have these standards, we're doing the work on ourselves. However, it's the shadow work, it's what's beneath the surface that is in fact blocking you from now achieving the success, the abundance, the emotional and financial fulfillment that you deserve. And so, a bit of context there, but essentially, I was doing this new journaling session of mine, and I broke through the most profound yet simple money blocks I didn't even realize I had. And in true, Isabelle start somewhere style, I honestly practice what I preach all the time. I'm like, okay, what is this first step I can take right now to really help me overcome and help me work through this? And so I realized, okay, it's having this vulnerable conversation with this person in my life. And I had the conversation and I worked through all these money blocks. And I essentially signed a client about an hour later. And that week in my business, I had an 11K week. And I know in my soul, deep down, that I would not have made those sales. I would not have been able to show up as this high value woman if I hadn't done that money work. If I hadn't chosen to dedicate the time to create the space, to tap in, and to essentially align and recalibrate my energetics when it comes to money. So that definitely was not in Alex Hormozi's book. That is really what inspired me to share this story with you guys. But that's just an insight as to, starting a business. It's the most beautiful, expansive journey. It's the biggest self-development journey. If you're somebody who loves personal development and growth and learning and all these, looking through this lens of feminine energy, but allowing it to be just such a soft, easeful, playful, joyful experience, I just invite you to follow that pull and just to keep seeing where it takes you, because it's interesting that Hormozi's book, although I really did learn from it and I really enjoyed it, it was just such a masculine approach to it. And honestly, the complete opposite to what this podcast episode has now gone to. And I'm so okay with that. And I'm so open to that happening. And I think that just shows that in business, there are a million ways to do so many different things. Like think about writing a sentence. There's so many different ways you can write that same sentence. Just as when it comes to business, there's so many different ways you can run a business. There's so many different ways you can create money online. As I mentioned, freelancing, e-commerce, starting a coaching business, selling digital products and services, like list every other idea that has already popped into your mind. And the thing is, as there are so many ways, there's infinite opportunities to create abundance. I've just seen what's helped me, like what has helped me to achieve this abundance, like that 11K week. Like what if you told me back in the day when I was working a 9 to 5, that's like a fifth of my salary back then, like I would have made that in, 5 to 7 days, and creating a life that just gives me freedom. I have a model I can hand you that allows you to explore this pathway, and this model works and it's extremely profitable and rewarding, and as these like feminine, as being a feminine leader, just being a feminine woman in general, we always just want to help people. We want to give back. We want to give, we want to nurture, we want to create, we want to explore, we want to tap in. We want to be able to figure out how we can create something more of ourselves, how we can start to turn that passion, that interest, that thing that really excites us and inspires us, how we can turn that into a business. And the beauty of the time that we're living in right now is that it's possible in a matter of days to make this happen. With the internet, with AI out there, with numerous online courses, with endless resources out there, it is possible to turn any vision, any idea in your mind into something more, into a business, into success, into something that is thriving, into something that makes you feel fulfilled, in something that allows you to feel more emotionally and financially abundant. So if that pull is something that is getting stronger and stronger, as always, I just invite you to continue to follow that pull. If you do feel like you are ready, you're like, oh, this pull, it's just there. It's keeping me up at night. I'm always thinking about it. I'm at my 9 to 5 and it's always playing in my mind. I'm on my walk and I can't stop thinking about it. Or maybe it's just crept up every now and then. Follow that pull. I have one solution that has worked extremely well for me and is something that I want to hand out to you as well. So if you are interested in finding more about that, you're more than welcome to book a free call with me. The link for that will be in the show notes of this podcast episode. And this is my gift to you. It's a free call for you to share whether you have a broad idea or a super specific idea. There's some more business advice or tips that could help you start to create those changes, start to create that shift and see what it is that is going to help you grow, that is going to help you really find that pathway, that solution that feels so right to you. So I'm going to leave on that note there. We took a complete spin. I honestly had minimal notes for this episode, but I kind of love where it went. So as always, guys, the link for the book club is in the show notes, as is the link to book a free call with myself. If this is something that you feel called to do so, I invite you to, and I so look forward to having a conversation with yourself and getting to know more about you and your dreams and all the things that you want to make possible for you. So I'm going to love you and leave you guys as always. And I look forward to seeing you in our episode that comes out every single Monday. Bye, guys. And that's all from me in this episode. Here are 3 ways you can contribute to Start Somewhere. Number 1, leave us a 5-star rating and review on either the Spotify and Apple podcast or both. Screenshot this episode and share it to your Instagram stories, tagging me at Isabelle Prestia. That's ISABELLEPRESTIA. And lastly, copy this episode URL and send it to a friend who you think will find value from our conversation. Thank you for starting somewhere.